I'm 10 years older. The forum is, it's more sophisticated now. It's better organized. There's an excitement about the forum that's more interesting today, I think, than 10 years ago. Korea's in a better place and yet a more uncertain place today than it was 10 years ago. But it's a more self-confident society. Yes. Strategy is problem solving. It's recognizing your key challenge and working to deal with it. 10 years ago, I was talking about what is a strategy. It's problem solving, I said 10 years ago. And what is a good strategy and what is a bad strategy. I went through all of that. Today, I'm more interested in how do you do it? What's the process by which you generate a good strategy? What should they discuss? How should they frame the situation of generating strategy? That's very different than the question of what is a strategy. What is a strategy is sort of like, if I was the king, what would I do? The question I'm asking is, if you have an organization, if you have a country, if you have politicians, if you have all these people, how do they work to create a strategy? What is the right process? We have very little research on that, and not much writing about it. There's a lot of writing about leadership, as if emanate from the head and lead people. But how do you actually create a strategy? And I'm recommending that first of all, you stop looking at goals and stop looking at ambitions. Those are fine, but that's not what a strategy is. The strategy is a set of steps taken to overcome the challenges you face, the key barriers between your dreams and reality. And those barriers are close in. Your dreams are out there, but the barriers are close in. And what am I going to do to overcome them? And that's strategy. Strategy is not about what am I going to be like in 10 years. It's what am I going to do this year to break through what's holding me back. A lot of big problems we face socially. The constraint is political, that the people are unwilling to make the choices. The CEO or some person in power has to make changes. And changes in an organization are usually someone gets more important and someone else gets less important. Now there's a lot of whining and moaning about that. But that's how you change organizations, is you change jobs, you change power positions, you change responsibilities. If you're unwilling to do that or unable to do it, then you can't change things. Oh, I wish I was an expert at that. Sometimes there are crux moments in your life you don't know that they are. There are high points in your life, and you don't know till years later that was a high point, that was a miraculous moment. Later you realize, oh wow, that was an amazing moment. There are low points, usually a death or an illness or something like that. The thing about life is you've got to grasp things when they're presented to you. You have to have some courage about it. But I was lucky too. I was born at the right moment. I was born in the middle of the Second World War, Battle of Midway. Lots of moving around. Being an academic, being a professor, was a great thing, a great choice for me, because I have difficulty with bosses. I have difficulty with people telling me what to do, and so having the relative freedom that you have when you're an academic is very important to me personally. It allowed me to figure out what to do about things. I've always been interested in fixing things. Finding something that's wrong and fixing it. So I'm less creative about what's the new thing to create than I am about they're doing that wrong. Let's fix it.
That's what you call strategies.
To some extent, yes. I got frustrated with all the talk about strategy is this formula or this technique or this matrix or these forces. None of that is strategy. Those are all analytical methods to think about a situation, but they're not strategy. Strategy is overcoming your problems in a competition or in a high-stakes situation. That's what it always has been. I said that we're living through a time of difficulty now. My civilization, your civilization, we've had a very good run of peaceful economic growth and development. Most everybody's gotten richer, and better off. We may be entering a period of time when that's not true. We may be entering a period of time where the world becomes less global, more fragmented, where people are less well off rather than more well off. There's more tensions, more stresses. We have to figure out our way through it. Now, no one wants to hear that too much. You know, we want to hear the future's bright, and if you reach for it, you'll get it. But I think you have to be prepared for harder times. I think we are prepared for harder times. I think we can deal with harder times. We're a rich, competent civilization, but the kind of issues we're going to be dealing with over the next 10, 15 years are different than the ones in the past. Our sources of wealth and sources of profit, they're shifting. It's going to be changed. We've been through that before. You know, we've been through world wars, we've been through a world financial crisis, we've been through Great Depressions, we've been through ups and things go up and down. You know, I mean, I'm old enough to have been through a couple of those cycles myself. I remember when the first oil crisis came along in 1973, 4. It felt like, oh my God, the world's never going to be the same. Prices are suddenly going up. You can't find gasoline anymore. And it was. It took about 10 years. Go through that difficult period and figure out a new way of doing business and doing things based on much higher energy costs. So yeah, I think that these are difficult times we're entering. I call them the rapids. Like you're going down a river and it gets rapids.